then it's a recipe for disaster. The entire ferry can capsize. Now, such things, I don't think Kenya Ferry Services really factors in.
Okay.
In fact, we are just putting on people on board and saying good luck. If you get to the other side, well and good. If not, but we need proper plans, and there should be laws. We have road laws, yeah, the road safety and all that. There was a show before where one of your journalists was talking to AA, and they were talking about road safety. So what about safety on such vessels? Who is the oversight on ferries to ensure that those standards are being maintained throughout, that the ferry is in good working condition? There was the issue of fire that was raised. There was a case in Norway where fire broke out on a ship and it killed 2 people. So fire systems is also very important because it's a threat, a terror threat. Yeah, we don't have CCTV cameras there to show us who is boarding and what are they carrying, as the colleague was saying, screening and all that that needs to take prior entering the vessel. So there is a lot, there are many gaps that are there. And we need an oversight to ensure that the Kenya ferries are doing their job. But most importantly, we need an emergency rescue service for all our water bodies.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, there's something that you raised, and that's a cost factor that Mr. Masai also raised, Peter, before I come to you. Mr. Masai, what do you say to Lucy's counter that what you're proposing would be very expensive, having all these agencies incorporated?
Yes, being on site there.
What do you say to that?
There's some noise at the background. I'm not getting your question clearly. Can those people stop the noise and then please bring the question correctly? I've not got it correctly, please.
All right, Mr. Masai, let me put it to you again. Lucy is saying what you're proposing as far as having all the different agencies on site would be a very costly affair. What do you have to say to that?
No. Let me tell you a best practice. I said one thing. We are losing people that should not have lost. There is nothing is costly as life, and there's nothing even should be carried from Nairobi. Don't mention Nairobi. National Disaster Operations Center, they are in Nairobi, but on the ground we have people from the ferry themselves. We have the KMA, we have the KPA. The police are there, the St. John's are there, the Red Cross are there. What is lacking? There's nothing lacking. Even the Kenya Navy is just next there. So what I'm saying, let us not give people wrong information in terms of the preparedness. It's a very cheap affair because everybody is in the ground, but people are not doing their work. Can I ask you a very simple question? Where is the safety officer? A ferry cannot leave from one point to another without a safety officer. A safety officer must give the guidance to the coxswain, all safety measures. Because if we say that National Disaster Operations Center, they are in Nairobi, National Disaster Management Unit, they are in Nairobi, no. About disaster preparedness is bringing them to the community. It's about the Kenya Ferry Services and stakeholders. Nothing is expensive. There are a lot of resources required from outside. They have everything in place. What is there? People are not doing their work. Let's face the point by itself. People must do their work. It's not about saying that nothing is missing and nothing is expensive than life.
All right, thank you, Mr. Masai. What do you have to say to what Mr. Masai has to say, that we have all the facilities in place, we have sufficiently qualified personnel in place, it's just that people slept on the job?
Well, I agree we have very multiple agencies who can help during disaster, but then looking at some of the agencies that Pius has mentioned, the Kenya Navy, the Ports Authority, the ferry service itself, if we don't have a centralized emergency response team or procedure, it's still going to be difficult to coordinate with those agencies on how to respond quickly. Because if you even look at the issue of the Kenya Navy, for you to scramble a team from the Kenya Navy to respond to an emergency that is happening on site, how long will it take before the Kenya Navy gets there?
According to Goa, he said 20 minutes.
20 minutes. In 20 minutes, someone will already be so gone. So I think it will be more appropriate if we can actually come up with a framework so that we have an emergency team on standby on site, not just for the ferries issue or issues to do with water, but even in other areas where emergencies can occur, so that when there's an issue, the team can respond quickly, even before it gets worse. Okay. It's very sad that up to 48 hours later, we still haven't recovered the bodies, we haven't recovered the vehicle. The family and the friends are in distress. It's very, very, very heartbreaking. Okay. And I think we really need to do something.
All right.
If we're sleeping at work, people need to wake up.
Lucy, you brought up the issue of CCTV cameras, and I just want to make a point before I go to Byron. In June last year, according to the Daily Nation report in today's paper, KFS said it had awarded a 78 million shilling contract to a company to install security cameras on its vessel. So that's a good point to note. We want to know what happened with that. Now,
yes, it would answer the question of why was the engine running? What happened? Why was she reversing, if she was indeed reversing? Because the CCTV camera can be able to tell us why she was in distress. Right now, we can only hypothesize. Maybe this was happening, maybe it went into the wrong gear. We don't know. We can only guess. But with that footage and the footage that the bystander took, that's the only thing that we have that can tell us the story. For me, it is a story about this lady and her child who were unfortunate to be on that ferry on that particular day. And there were no measures that were there to help her, to save her life. But also I want to step it up a bit and talk about you, the victim in that situation. And especially after the Westgate situation we had. A lot was spoken by our security experts, and they encouraged us that if you find yourself in a situation, see how you can save yourself. And I think it's about time that we who are using such facilities to start thinking that if I'm caught out in this situation, or let me take another example. If you're driving along a road and you find that the river has burst and it's coming for you, or there's a flash flood, what can you do to save yourself? We must start thinking in that way so that we are not totally victims, that we can try and save ourselves. Like the case of the oil tanker and the maize mill trailer that where we know that the drivers actually jumped out. They saved themselves and they left their cargo to go into the ocean. I think we should learn how to do that. And I can understand the dilemma. How was she going to save herself and have a child in that situation? Okay. So again, goes back to why wasn't she not out of the car? Where was the supervisor or the one who is in charge of the deck not going around checking that everybody's out of the car? Because today if you ask the husband, would you want your car or your wife and child? He would say, I want wife and child. All yeah, right. So the heads must roll, beginning from those who are working on that ferry, and also way up because they've done nothing since our first disaster on the ferries.
Okay.